Can you kick up into the handstand but just never seem to quite hold it? Or maybe you can hold yourself in the handstand against the wall, but when you go to the floor, it's really hard to balance. Or maybe you're not even comfortable kicking up into the handstand yet, but it's been a long-term goal of yours. If you're in any of these three groups, then this video is exactly for you. We're going to talk about the three main plateaus that you hit when you're training for the handstand and what you can do to get past them into the next stage so you can eventually make it into the floor handstand doing really cool handstand shapes. I taught myself how to do the floor handstand and I've helped others work through the stages as well to get to their floor handstand, and hopefully I can help you break through these plateaus in this video too. And there are three main plateaus that people get stuck in training for their floor handstand. Depending on which of these stages you're in, your training and what you want to do to fix your mistake is going to look really different. So whether you can't even kick up into the floor yet, or if you're holding the wall handstand but can't seem to balance, there are different things we're going to do to help you move past those stages. The first place that people get stuck in training for their handstand is if you're not comfortable at all kicking up into the floor or inverting, which is basically going upside down, having your hands on the floor and your legs above your hands. That's what we call inverting. And of course, if you're uncomfortable kicking your legs up into the air into the handstand, it's gonna be really hard to actually train for the handstand. Now at this stage, don't worry about doing any handstand drills. All we're focusing on here is getting you confident, bailing out or falling out of the handstand. What makes someone actually confident is competence. And in this case, if you wanna have the confidence of getting and holding your floor handstand, you need to have competence in being able to bail or fall out of the handstand safely. So let me walk you through how to bail out of the handstand. Do you remember maybe when you were a child you would do cartwheels? Or maybe you saw other kids doing cartwheels if that wasn't your thing? The cartwheel is basically two hands on the floor, and when you come out of the cartwheel, you lift one hand and fall to the side. This is the exact motion that we are using in order to bail out of the handstand. Two hands on the floor, you lift one, and you pivot and fall to the side of the arm that you lifted off the floor. And one reason that a lot of people aren't super comfortable actually doing the cartwheel is because they're uncomfortable inverting and bailing out because they don't trust it. And it's a lot of trust to just go straight from feet on the floor to feet as high as they possibly can with your hands on the floor. So one way that you can get more confident is spending more time on your hands. This could look like crawling, this could look like downward dog, this could look like any of these inversion poses you might see in calisthenics. Now, a lot of people online say to do the headstand or the crow in order to get into the handstand. I might rock some boats here, but this is the only stage that training with crow or headstand is going to be useful in you getting to your handstand, because they help you get more comfortable with your hands on the floor, your body weight on your hands, and you in a partially inverted position. Now, on a side note, if you're already comfortable bailing out of the handstand, the crow and the headstand are not great drills for you to actually practice getting to your handstand. But if you're in this stage number one, they can be useful tools to have in our tool belt. Other drills that I prefer to help you get more comfortable inverting include downward dog, hands on the floor, butt in the air, feet on the floor, which you can then use to progress into walking kick-ups, where you place your hands on the floor and you kick one leg into the air, coming up as high as you are comfortable before coming back down. Take a step and do it again. You don't need to kick up as high as possible. Just start by getting more comfortable having your hands on the floor and letting both of your feet leave the floor. Walking kick-ups are a great warm-up drill, and they're really good for helping you get a bit more comfortable upside down. Over time, continue to kick your feet higher and higher and higher until you're not quite as uncomfortable in that bailing out motion of the cartwheel that we talked about a minute ago. In this stage, another useful drill for you to do is wall walks. So here you're gonna have your hands on the floor, your feet against the wall, with your body in a nice straight plank position, and you're gonna walk your feet with tiny little steps up the wall, walking your hands in the same manner towards the wall. Walk as close to the wall as you are comfortable, and then walk on back down. And this is not only a great warm-up drill, but also gets you comfortable going upside down, and it builds up some good shoulder strength that can be transferred into the handstand. Now, please, no matter what stage you're in, especially if you're in this stage, which is of course going to be our most beginner stage, please do a thorough handstand warm-up. I cannot even express how important this is in order to help prevent and minimize any injuries that you might get when training for your handstand. Our wrists are really delicate joints, and most people just aren't used to having a lot of pressure in the wrists. We don't really use our wrists a lot, and most people don't do crawling drills. So it's a lot to go straight from nothing straight into kick-ups, especially if you don't naturally have great wrist mobility. So please do a very thorough warm-up, especially a wrist warm-up before getting into your handstand. I actually made a whole video on how to warm up, so I'll link that below in case you're not really sure where to start, but just spend lots of time making sure you're super warmed up and ready to go. And when you feel pretty comfortable bailing out of the cartwheel, going pretty high up into the wall walk, doing kick-ups, you're more comfortable, more competent, more confident, falling out of the handstand, you have passed stage one. Congratulations. And now we're moving into stage number two that people get stuck training for their handstand. Okay, the next place that people get stuck training for their handstand is when they just try to kick up on the floor and hope that they'll eventually hold it. The more that you kick up, eventually it will just magically happen and you'll just magically stick it. Unfortunately, that is not exactly how it works. First of all, I feel you. I have been there before. And unfortunately, it's just not gonna happen. In order to actually get the handstand, we need to spend time in the handstand position to build up the proper muscles. Our shoulder muscles, our trapezius muscles, our core, to train that full body tension that we need in order to hold our body in a nice straight line for the handstand. And we build up this strength by spending time in the handstand. And when we're kicking up into the floor handstand over and over and over again, we barely get even maybe half a second, if half a second or 1 second in the floor handstand. It's just not enough time in order to stimulate progressive overload and actually train these muscles that we need. So what's the solution to this? How do we do this? Well, we use a box or a wall in order to support ourselves with the balance component while we train these handstand specific muscles with drills. So if you're in this stage, there are 3 main drills that you need to focus on in order to build up some serious strength to get into your handstand so that when you kick up into the floor, you hold it for more than half a second. Maybe 2 seconds if you're lucky. Because if you're at this video, I'm assuming that you want to be able to hold the handstand for at least like 10, 20, 40 seconds. Like, you've got handstand goals, not just like 1 second, right? Okay, and the 3 main drills that you're gonna focus on in this stage: the box handstand hold, the wall handstand hold, and hollow body holds. And that is a lot of holding right there, I know, but let's break them down right now. So for box holds, you're gonna place your hands on the floor and your feet elevated on a box. The goal here is to get your hips positioned over your shoulders, over your wrists. And this is what I call stacking. This is gonna be the alignment that you have in the handstand in order to make it as easy as possible. When you're nicely stacked like this, it tends to be the easiest way to balance when you're in the handstand. Think about if your leg were to stick out. Gravity's gonna pull that leg straight down to the ground. You're gonna need a lot more strength in order to hold into the handstand, which is why when your hips are over your shoulders or over your hands with your feet right above in the air, that nice straight line tends to make it the easiest to balance for the handstand. Now, if you're about to start talking at me with different shapes and balance, that's a whole different component. We're talking about the straight handstand right here. If you don't have super flexible or mobile hamstrings in the box handstand hold, it might look like this, where your knees are bent, your hamstrings aren't quite as stretched, and that's completely fine, because what you really want to focus here is pressing your hands into the floor, trying to squeeze your shoulders over your ears. I want you to think about this handstand cue in this drill and the next one. Squeeze your shoulders over your ears. And what we're actually training when we think about this handstand cue is our shoulder blades. We're elevating them and protracting them. So squeezing our shoulder blades towards the front of our body and up towards our ears. This is going to be the optimal position for our shoulder blades in the handstand. So try to cover your ears with your shoulders, press your hands into the floor, and if this starts to feel pretty comfortable, you can go ahead and start lifting one leg off the box into the air. Now you're going to try to go for more stacking. So now ankle over hips, over shoulders, over wrists. Now when box holds become too easy, you can move on to the wall handstand hold, which is so fun. I see a lot of people make not so optimal form when using the wall handstand. So I'm going to tell you the form that I really prefer you to see. You have 2 options here. One, kicking up against the wall with your back facing the wall. So now your body is facing away from the wall, bending one of your knees so that your foot is touching the wall and supporting, but your body is still in that nice straight stacked line where your hips are over your shoulders are over your hands. A common mistake that I see is letting both of your feet just hang against the wall. And that's not good, because although this is going to be good to build up shoulder strength, it's actually kind of gonna sabotage you in the next stage when you realize that you haven't practiced that nice stacked position, and so you haven't exactly trained the right muscles that we want. When you train with good form from the beginning, it just makes it so much easier to get the handstand at the end. Alternatively, if you're confident bailing out, you can do chest to wall handstand, which is my personal favorite. What I would personally recommend if you're comfortable bailing out for the chest to wall handstand, how you bail out is you basically lift one arm and fall to the side, kind of like cartwheeling out of the wall. For the box handstand, you can just walk your hands away from the box and hop your feet on down, kind of like when we did those wall walks, but not for this wall handstand. When you're facing the wall for the wall handstand, you want to have one leg bent so it's still supportive on the wall, but that other leg that's straight above you, you want to be squeezing every single muscle, completely engaged with your full body, still focusing on squeezing your shoulders over your ears, pressing your hands into the floor, and looking between your fingers, or at least around your fingers. Now, a huge tip here that I highly recommend, and a lot of people don't take up this advice, but if you take up this advice, it just makes your life so much easier, so please do it. But if you just prop your phone up in the corner to get a side view of you doing your handstand drill, when you come down from your handstand drill, you grab your phone, you can see your form and you can see how well you're stacked. And this is really helpful because sometimes when we're in the handstand, it feels like we must be completely perfectly stacked. We must be completely vertical and nicely aligned. But then you pull up your video and you realize that your foot is doing something really strange behind you and your arms are just not in the best position. Maybe you're piking forward or you're behind. And when you look at the video, you actually realize where your body was. You can think back to how your body felt and was positioned in the last drill, and then you can correct it based on what you see and how you felt and move into the next set and try better. And it's just an underrated hack. So set up your phone, get a form video, correct your mistake, move on to the next round. Okay, drill number 3 for this stage is gonna be your hollow hold. Now the hollow hold is an amazing core drill that's gonna help you develop full body tension. In the hollow hold, you're practicing forming the shape that you want your body to be in the handstand. When we lack full body tension in the handstand, what this can look like is you arching your lower back, which is then gonna cause your legs to fall behind you, which is then gonna mess up your whole balance altogether. When we kick up into our handstand, we want to practice this full body tension. Everything is nice and tight and engaged so that we keep that nice stacked straight line as long as possible. It will make your balancing so much easier. So for the hollow body hold, you're gonna lay on your back, pressing your lower back into the floor, crunching your upper ribs towards your lower hip bones. This is gonna bring your shoulder blades slightly off the floor, and your lower back should be pressed into the floor. You wanna extend your arms and legs away from you, trying to keep them as flat as possible, and you're just gonna hold this position as long as possible. Like literally as long as you can hold it until your lower back starts to come off the floor. When your back starts to come off the floor, you are no longer practicing what you need to, so just rest and then repeat. I love hollow holds. And if you point your toes too, that's great, because when you're in the handstand, you can either do a pointed toe or a foot flex. It doesn't really matter, but what matters more is that you're engaging your foot muscles. Everything should be engaged. Everything should be squeezed. And for me, I prefer pointed toes. So when I'm in the hollow hold, I do a pointed toes. That being said, if you do the handstand and you like to have your foot completely flexed when you're in the handstand, practice your hollow body hold with flexed feet. And all these drills in stage number 2 are going to help you build up the strength so that when you kick up into your handstand, you're able to actually hold it for much longer, which is then going to allow you to get your floor handstand. Now there's a little bit of overlap between stages 2 and 3, but stage number 3 is kind of like the next level. So what happens in stage 3 is now you have the strength to hold your handstand against the wall. Maybe you can hold it for like ages, but somehow when you kick up onto the floor, you can never actually get the balance and hold the handstand. So what's happening here is you lack the balance, the coordination, and the handstand specific strength that you need to balance the handstand. And this happens a lot when people are coming from a very athletic background. Maybe they're coming from a gym background. I see this a lot with my gym girls. And this was my biggest problem plateau. So if you're stuck in this plateau, I feel you. And what this looked like for me is I was kicking up against the wall, but I was facing away from the wall and I was just holding it, building up shoulder endurance. But when I went to the floor, I could never actually kick up and hold the handstand. I would walk my hands around, or I wouldn't be able to hold it for very long at all. And one big mistake I was making is I was not practicing stacking. I was practicing the handstand with horrible form. When I kicked up into the wall handstand, my feet were completely flat against the wall, which meant I had a huge lower back arch and my hands were too far away from the wall for me to have proper alignment. So I wasn't practicing alignment or handstand balance at all. I was just building up shoulder endurance, which is not bad by any means, but it really got me stuck at this next plateau, which is the balance plateau. So how do we get past this balance plateau, you might be asking? Well, I got you. There are 2 main things that we need to do. Number 1 is you need to practice balance. We're going to be doing that with 2 different drills. One is your hollow holds that we already talked about, and number 2 is your wall flutters. And the second thing that you need to do is focus on stacking, on alignment of your joints. This means for your wall handstand, don't practice with your body facing away from the wall, practice with your body facing towards the wall, or if you're doing body away from the wall, then make sure you're bending one leg so you're really focusing on balance. But if you're at this stage, face the wall. You should be comfortable at this point. It's gonna help you lots. I see you, you can do it. So if you've gotten to this stage and you were practicing the wall handstand with not optimal alignment, in this stage, just spend a lot of time really focusing on stacking. Set up your phone, make sure that you're completely aligned, your hips are over your shoulders, are over your hands. I say this over and over again, but it's really, really just the best thing that you can do in order to figure out alignment. And then on top of that, you're gonna go ahead and add in these wall flutters. Now, wall flutters are basically the wall handstand, but now you're spending a little bit more time in the air. So both of your feet are off the wall. In wall flutters, you're gonna kick up into the wall handstand and slowly alternate which leg touches the wall and which one's in the air. Now, as you're switching legs, there's a little bit of free air moment here. And this is the free air moment where you're practicing that balance. You're practicing floating off the wall and just getting comfortable holding your body in the handstand. A few key tips: don't forget to be squeezing your shoulders over your ears here still. We are still elevating our scapula. We're still pressing our hands into the floor. You're still gazing between your fingers or at that little spot near your hands on the floor that you're looking at consistently over and over again every session. In wall flutters, you're still completely engaging your leg muscles, keeping them squeezed the entire time. You are controlling your legs. You're not letting your legs just rest and chill. You're controlling their every single movement. So whether they're balanced against the wall, toes are still pointed, whether they're straight above you, leg muscles still squeeze, you're squeezing your quads, you're trying to keep everything engaged. And I recognize that that was a lot of tips right there, but of those tips, what I would recommend you focus on most is gonna be shoulder blades. Always shoulder blades. Keep your shoulder blades elevated. It's gonna make your handstand so much easier. It's gonna train the right muscles. Just focus on that, and also keeping that full body tension. Now, a mistake that I made in this stage when I was practicing my wall flutters is I was bringing kind of like the gym mentality of just go till failure, go until you fatigue and can't hold anymore. But that's not exactly what we want to be doing when we're training in the handstand, especially not when we're in this stage, when you're plateaued at the balance stage. Here, you want to focus almost like it's more of a strength exercise. You want to focus completely on the skill and your form, and as soon as you start to drop the form, or you can't exactly hold it, you want to come down, because there's no point in actually training the handstand with bad form. That's actually going to set you back in progress. So in this stage, if you notice that your back starts to arch, or you're not able to squeeze your shoulders over your ears, or you feel like you're really failing, just come down, rest for a few minutes, and then try again with optimal form. And after you've practiced wall flutters for a bit, you've spent more time on the wall, probably longer than you think you need to, working on the wall handstand, working on that alignment, you can move into the kick-ups again. You can start kicking up against the floor and trying to stick it, and you will be shocked by how long you can actually hold your floor handstand if you've been spending the proper amount of time working on these drills that I talked about in this video. Because the truth is, until you can actually hold the handstand on the floor for like a minimum of 10 seconds, you don't really need to be practicing the handstand on the floor for the handstand. You need to be practicing with the wall. That's it. And soon you'll have broken through plateau number 3, where people get stuck, and you will be on your floor handstand working on more advanced handstand shapes and all of the fun things like that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want more handstand videos. I will see you in the next one.